Good day, good people, and welcome to Revolutionary Belovedness. I'm Robert Farrell, and whether you are here for the live session or watching the recording, thank you as always for being here. If you will, let me know in the chat section that you are hearing me okay and seeing me okay. That'll give us a quick technology check here to make sure everything's working well. As a reminder, while we do that, the chat section remains open during our whole time together this evening, and you can feel free and are encouraged to share anything at all in the chat section during the evening. Tonight we are reflecting on hospitality to the unknown. I'm still waiting to hear confirmation that you can hear me okay. I believe everything is working well on my side. So let us take a moment to center in and center down, settling into the body as it rests in this moment, feeling the surface beneath supporting the whole. Feel that so completely that surrender becomes possible. And let the breath arrive naturally, filling the chest and belly with an ease that asks nothing beyond attention. And take a moment to feel the space around the shoulders soften, the jaws loosen, and the hands open in the lap or along the thighs as gravity does the work of settling. And simply bring awareness to this present threshold, this precise gathering of breath and body and quiet. And let it become a doorway. Sacred presence rest here in what is already whole and available. Awareness widens gently, inviting warmth into the chest, spaciousness into the mind, and readiness into the heart for the reflection that follows. Friends, every threshold carries an invitation, and the unknown is perhaps the widest threshold life offers. And rather than approaching it as an empty stretch to be filled quickly with answers, the unknown can be received as living ground, rich with possibility, still gathering its visible shape. And Richard Rohr names this welcoming stance hospitality to the unknown, a willingness to remain present to uncertainty, to difference, and to change, allowing each to arrive in its own time and its own form. Hospitality in this sense becomes an active gesture of the heart, opening the door before the guest has even been named. That kind of hospitality asks for very little in the way of preparation, and it asks quite a lot in the way of presence. The kind of presence that grows steadier the more often it gets practiced. Many contemplative lineages point toward this same welcoming posture, describing it as a form of prayer that offers room rather than answers, trusting arrival over control. To offer hospitality to uncertainty is to treat it the way an ancient household might treat a traveler arriving at dusk, offering water and rest before asking where the journey began or where it leads. Uncertainty, welcomed this way, loses its power to threaten and gains the capacity to teach. Difference becomes a guest worth honoring, carrying wisdom that familiar patterns could offer on their own only rarely. Change arrives as a companion rather than an intrusion, walking alongside rather than crashing through the door. Each of these guests, given room, tends to reveal gifts that hurried closure would have kept hidden, and receiving those gifts takes a particular kind of courage. Even hesitation, once it's welcomed rather than rushed past, tends to soften into curiosity, revealing how much of its weight came from resistance rather than from the guest itself. And that courage carries a name in the work of Valerie Kaur, who calls it transition, one of the practices of revolutionary love that is drawn from the labor of birth. Transition marks the most intense point in that labor, the stage when the body strains between what has been and what is emerging, when the old shape of things gives way and the new shape continues gathering its final form. And Valerie describes this moment as fire, the edge where a voice inside might whisper that the labor feels beyond bearing, even as the very intensity signals how close new life waits to arrive. Held beside hospitality, transition becomes proof that welcoming the unknown asks for more active courage rather than some passive shrug, and that the welcome itself is what makes the fire bearable. Friends, that same welcome shows up as an inner steadiness that Valerie calls her wise woman. It's a presence that surfaces particularly during transition, offering guidance through calm rather than certainty. Friends, hospitality to the unknown cultivates exactly this kind of listening. When uncertainty stops being treated as an enemy to defeat, attention grows free to notice the subtler moments within, moments that carry their own intelligence and timing. And friends, the wisdom guiding transition often arrives quietly, and hospitality creates the stillness required to hear it. The way a quiet room allows a soft knock at the door to register clearly. That same quiet carries into one of contemplative tradition's oldest teaching, the recognition that certainty, even in its comfort, can become a resting place that keeps deeper growth at bay. Mystery matures a spiritual life in ways that fixed answers rarely manage, inviting faith to widen rather than narrow. And so Richard Rohr's teaching on hospitality to the unknown draws from this same well, suggesting that holding paradox and complexity becomes a spiritual practice in itself. Grief and hope can occupy the same breath, fear and courage the same heartbeat, ending and beginning the same threshold. And hospitality makes room for this fullness rather than reducing the moment to a single feeling. Friends, holding paradox this way becomes, over repeated practice, a kind of spiritual muscle memory. And that muscle memory lives most convincingly in the body itself, where hospitality to the unknown finds its clearest expressions through embodied presence. Breath becomes an anchor. Arriving and departing with a rhythm that continues steadily, even while everything else feels in motion. Yeah, the body remembers how to open, how to soften around intensity rather than clench against it. And so attention to sensation, to the weight of the feet, the warmth of the hands, the rise and fall of the chest, that offers a doorway back into the present moment whenever the mind wanders toward fear of what lies ahead. Take a breath now. Yes, grounded presence becomes the very hospitality that welcomes uncertainty inside. It turns the body itself into a threshold generous enough to receive whatever the moment brings. And this kind of welcome grows lighter when it's shared, which is part of why Valerie describes transition as labor best held in community, surrounded by those who summon courage on one another's behalf. A single person facing change alone may feel the fire as overwhelming, while a circle of companions, present and attentive, transforms that same fire into something warmer than it is consuming. Community becomes a place where hospitality to the unknown gets practiced collectively, each person's steadiness lending itself to the others. And this pattern extends far beyond any single beginning. Relationships move through their own transitions, as do communities, movements, and entire seasons of a life. Grace Lee Boggs wrote of nations undergoing tremendous philosophical and spiritual transformation, calling each person toward awakened participation rather than passive observation. Friends, hospitality to the unknown equips us for exactly this kind of participation, offering presence to those unresolved chapters rather than demanding premature closure. A career shift, a loss, a shift in belief, a change within a beloved community, each of these becomes a labor deserving the same patient welcome extended to any birth. And seasons of the natural world echo this same wisdom generously. Winter holds its own hospitality to the unknown, offering bare branches that carry spring with them or within them long before any bud becomes visible. Soil surrounding a planted seed practices this hospitality continuously, surrounding hidden growth with warmth and darkness until roots grow strong enough to reach toward light. And life itself seems to model transition at every scale, moving through cycles of gathering, releasing, and gathering again, each cycle deepening the capacity to trust what remains still unseen. Tides recede and return along the shore in this same rhythm. Each retreat preparing the ground for a fuller arrival. And migrating birds trust unseen paths across vast distances long before landing again on familiar shores. Attending closely to these kind of cycles outside the self offers gentle permission to trust the same rhythm unfolding within. That same permission extends into daily life, where countless smaller thresholds offer practice long before larger transitions arrive. A difficult conversation still finding its shape, a decision still forming, a relationship still discovering its rhythm. Each becomes an opportunity to extend hospitality rather than force resolution. A conversation with a stranger, an unexpected delay, a plan that shifts midstream. Each offers a small rehearsal in receiving what arrives unplanned. And practicing welcome at this smaller scale builds capacity for the larger fires transition eventually brings, much the way small stretches of trust prepare the body for greater labors ahead. And every ordinary uncertainty becomes training ground for the sacred kind. You see, living inside hospitality to the unknown becomes, over time, a way of trusting the larger movement of life itself. Each ending carries a beginning folded quietly within it, waiting for welcome rather than force, and each moment still forming its answer before fertile ground rather than empty space. Alive with a wisdom that reveals itself gradually, the way morning light reveals a room one shape at a time. So transition supplies the courage this trust requires, and hospitality supplies the welcome that makes the courage possible. And the two moving together like breath moving in and out of a single body. Each return to this practice deepens the capacity for the next threshold until welcoming the unknown becomes less an effort and more a settled way of moving through the world. And practiced this way, the unknown grows into a companion accompanying every step of transformation. Its mystery honored as sacred rather than treated as a problem waiting for a solution. And what emerges from this welcome carries the marks of patience, courage, and grace, gifts that only the unknown, hosted generously, seems able to offer in that kind of abundance. Thank you for sharing in that reflection with me. I'd now like to take some time and just offer a guided inquiry, an opportunity for you to perhaps experience this in some way, especially in your body, instead of just intellectually. So take a moment to feel the weight of the body settled into whatever holds it right now. Chair, cushion on the floor, the pull of gravity offering something solid to lean into. close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Notice where your skin meets the air, where fabric meets the skin, where warmth gathers in the palms open or folded loosely in the lap. Let your breath find its own depth. There's no correction needed, only the noticing of air moving in and through the nose and settling somewhere near the base of the ribs. Allow the face to release whatever it's been holding. That space between the eyebrows widening by a fraction. The jaw unclenching enough to register the difference. And shoulders find their own level. Neither lifted nor forced down, just simply allowed. Good. Somewhere in the body, a door exists tonight. Not a metaphor to solve, but only a sensation to locate. Perhaps it lives in the sternum, maybe lower, in the belly, perhaps even the base of the throat. And let your attention rest there and notice what texture that door carries this evening. Wood worn smooth by many hands. Metal cool even in warmth. Something newer, still finding its hinge, still learning how to swing. And feel the frame around that door. Feel the threshold beneath it. Feel the space just before the opening where so much waiting happens, where the breath tends to shorten and the body braces without quite meaning to. A memory might surface here of a threshold once crossed with hesitation. You know, something like a new city, a new room, a new relationship, a diagnosis, a goodbye that opened into something unrecognized at the time. And just allow that memory to arrive without needing to finish its story. Notice where it lands in the body. Chest, throat, stomach, hands, back of the knees. Good. What did welcome feel like in that moment? What did it feel like when welcome went missing? There's no answer required. only the sensation of the question moving through, like weather passing over the skin, arriving and leaving on its own schedule. The breath continues, arriving and departing. And with each exhale, a slight loosening becomes possible around whatever the body has been guarding. So the shoulders might drop another inch. The grip in the hands might soften around nothing in particular. Fingers uncurling one by one. Take a moment to notice any place still bracing against what has yet to arrive. A tightness at the base of the skull. A held breath somewhere beneath the ribs. And simply offer that place nothing but attention. The simplest form of welcome available. Consider what waits on the other side of that inner door right now, this week, this season. No image is required, no name is necessary. Only the willingness to feel the door as door, neither locked nor forced open, simply present, simply available for its own timing. What would it feel like to place a hand flat against that door? Not pushing, just touching. Warmth might rise there, or coolness still, or a subtle hum, like a hinge remembering how to move after long stillness. And what might the unknown be carrying toward you, even now, even before it has a shape or a name? And let that question rest without resolution, because your body already knows more than words can gather in any single sitting. We'll carry this into the silence. Breathing in, this door is welcome. Breathing out, the unknown finds room to stay. Breathing in, this door is welcome. Breathing out, the unknown finds room to stay. Friends, slowly let your awareness widen again, beyond the door, beyond the breath, back into the fuller shape of the room you're in. Let sound return first. Let the weight in the body return to ordinary gravity, finding your feet on the floor. Hands finding the lap or the armrest. And the eyes, if closed, may open gently, meeting the light of the space with a soft focus. And please carry this welcome forward as simply as it arrived. Open enough to hold whatever the day or evening, week still ask. Steady enough to meet a threshold without rushing its opening. And may the unknown find you well met, and may you find it in its own time good company. The chat section remains open, and I'm going to take time just to share 4 what I've been calling group dialogue questions. You can save these and answer them in your own practice at home, or you can engage with them on the Mighty Network and engage with them together. Or if you want to provide an answer to one or more of those tonight in the chat section, you can feel free to do that as well. What happens inside you when a situation refuses to resolve quickly? And what does it feel like to welcome that sensation rather than push past it? Next, where in life right now might an unresolved question be asking for room rather than resolution? Next, looking back on a season of change that you've already crossed, what did uncertainty teach that certainty alone could not have offered? And next, what would it look like for this community to practice hospitality toward difference, disagreement, or the not yet known together? Or what could it look like for your community where you are to practice hospitality toward difference, disagreement, or the not yet known, and do that together? So if you're pondering those or are typing, you have a minute or two. I'll share a few updates. This is August. This is our transition month from Mighty Network more deeply into Substack and Crowdcast. You will see some emails coming during the month to give you some different details about that. Most of those transitions for you will happen automatically through automation. Of course, you can unsubscribe at any time, but our live stream sessions like these tonight will be on Crowdcast. Most of the written dialogue, like we see within the Mighty Network post, will be on Substack. There will be free courses still available. Those will be on the website. So we're not going to be as centralized, but we will still be together as a community. Also, I want to let you know that beginning on August I think my date is correct. I believe August 17th is a Monday. We will be offering Zoom sessions at 7 a.m. Central Time for those of you that like to join in group centering prayer together. It will be a 30-minute time slot. It'll have about a 5-minute welcoming, 20 minutes of centering prayer, and about 5 minutes for closing. So keep a lookout for that notification as well. And I think that is it for now. If there's anything else, you have about 30 more seconds to type in the chat. And then I will wish us all a good evening and hope to see you again soon. It's nice to see all of you. It looks like we may have had a couple of new folks come in this evening, or some that haven't been here in a while. So it's good to see you all. I know at least one of you is here from when we were at Crowdcast over 2 years ago, so that's great. Old, new? Well, okay. Great. All right, everyone. Have a lovely evening. I look forward to seeing you next time. Blessings to all.